Welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to close high ticket sales and what high ticket sales are. So obviously, sales, you can sell all kinds of things. High ticket, I would say, someone else defined this on my show recently. I think he said $7,000 or $5,000 plus. I agree. I think $10,000 and above would be pretty high ticket. Anything below that would be more of a low ticket sale. But in any case, the way sales work, it's typically commission based, and the higher the price of the item, the higher the commission, the higher the potential spread, because it is a higher ticket item. There's more perceived quality. It should obviously bring more value to the customer or your client, depending on the value of the service, or if it's a course or coaching or entertainment. There's so many different things that you could sell, right? And the sales rep or the person who is marketing these products, if you're an affiliate marketer, gets a commission whenever a sale is made. And so I kind of got my way into this industry because I first started flipping things like Gary Vee talks about from garage sales. So you buy stuff low, you sell it high. And I specifically remember one garage sale where I found 2 brand new pairs of hiking shoes in the box with the tags on. And I asked the lady how much she was selling them for. And I think she said $25 a pop. And these were those Arc'teryx hiking shoes, very fancy. I scanned the tag just to see what the prices were going for on eBay. And I found that some recently sold pairs, same model, same size, men's shoe, sold for like $120, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it's been several years since then. So I'm pretty sure it was $120. And I was able to buy 2 pairs for $50 total and sell them for $120 each. Now, obviously, there were some expenses in there, and eBay takes a little cut for listing and selling through their platform. But when it was all said and done, I still made a profit, and that was just arbitrage of finding something at a low price, listing it at a higher price that the market is willing to pay, and making the difference. And so when I was doing all that stuff, I started to come across podcasts about real estate, such as Bigger Pockets, and I was listening to those, and I came across an idea called real estate wholesaling, which is pretty much flipping a contract. You're finding a deal from a motivated seller or a distressed seller who is willing to sell at a lower price point, and you find a buyer who's willing to pay a higher price point, and then you make the spread, which is a wholesale fee or an assignment fee. It sounds simple, and it is actually simple, but it is not necessarily easy. There's a lot of nuances in there. You've got to have scripts and sales training and tonality and all these different things that it takes some time to develop those skills. But in any case, it was on my radar, and I joined a team. I started doing that. I started making commission because it was a sales-based business. So I would get a portion of the assignment fee when it was all said and done. So I was learning a lot. The only downside was now, say the spread's 10,000 and my commission was 20%, I would be making $2,000 versus if I had the knowledge and knew how to do this on my own, that $10,000 spread would all go to me. Whereas here it was a sales role. So I had 20%, which of course was the 2,000. So it was on my radar. I was learning a lot, and I knew that this was a high ticket item where you could have huge spreads. I had to deal with a $32,000 freaking assignment fee. It was incredible. And it opened my mind. It changed my mind forever. I saw what was possible. But in any case, a year after working with that company, I decided to get my real estate license because I saw so many real estate agents who were bringing us deals off market were making a ton of money for doing relatively little. And that obviously, with my 4-hour work week mentality and my love for productivity, piqued my curiosity. So I got my license and I started to continue to make content, show pictures of deals that were closing, open houses I was hosting, houses that I was showing to buyer clients and things like that. So through action, through momentum, people started to associate my name with real estate, and they were reaching out for questions. Friends reached out to get help buying houses, and then that led to some listings, which led to more referrals. And it's just a big cycle as you take action and you meet people and you do a good job for them and you do your best and you put it all out there. You're going to get referrals. You're going to get repeat business. I've got clients who've sold a house with me and bought another house with me, who have sent me their friends, who've bought multiple houses with me, investor clients, for example. And because there are high ticket sales, higher priced homes, you're able to get a larger commission or a larger spread. And so I love high ticket sales because you don't have to sell as many to make a very good living and to make a pretty good impact in the lives of those people. Whereas if you're selling something low ticket, like if I were selling water bottles or something, I'd have to sell a lot more volume. Say my margin on here is like $3 or $5 profit margin. You have to sell a lot more to make the same amount of money. Whereas here, I'm going to share my screen and I'll just pull up the calculator. But let's say there's a $400,000 house the commission for the buyer's agent and for the seller's agent's 3% on each side. That is $12,000. And assuming that you've capped, that's a whole nother story. You've got to splits with your broker and things like that. It doesn't necessarily all go to the real estate agent, but once you cap and you hit a certain limit, you get to keep that entire portion until your cap resets the following year. So let's assume that I'm capped and I sell a $400,000 house and there's no concessions, there's no random fees that I decided to pay for to help the client out. My spread on that is $12,000. Now, imagine doing 10 deals like that a year. And of course, sometimes you have lower priced homes, you have higher priced homes, and they average out. But I'd say if you can get your average priced home to a $400,000 price point, which is very doable in many markets of the US, you're looking at $120,000 a year for 10 deals. That's not even a deal a month. That sounds very, very doable, doesn't it? And you may not necessarily get there that first year, maybe not even the second year, but if you stay consistent and you do referrals and you build your business and you get repeat clients, by year 3 and 4, even 5, maybe even sooner. I've seen people do it in years 1 and 2, depending on how hard you want to go, how comfortable you are with getting uncomfortable, and how much action you're going to take. That is extremely doable. And that's what I love about high ticket sales, because you don't necessarily have to make a whole lot of deals to make an amazing income and impact. And here's another example where there's a $460,000 house. So the commission on that's 3%. And sometimes it's all negotiable. I think 3% is kind of the standard, but maybe this one was like 2.8%. But yeah, let's assume that the commission was $12,880. I had a referral where I sent the referral to another buyer. My deal was, when you close a deal with this buyer, I'm going to get 25% cut for the referral fee. So we have that all in writing. So that the 2.8% is 12,880 commission times 0.25, 3,220. So that was my cut for just referring this deal to some other real estate agent who actually closed the deal. And that is pretty amazing for 40 minutes of Zoom calls probably. And that is the power of high ticket sales. But let me just dive in a little bit on how I do it and maybe the terminology and the verbiage that I use. So obviously I build up a bunch of rapport and I build up a bunch of credibility through my relationships, my friendships, posting pictures with other people where we're both in the same image and we're both collaborating on something, or even just a live Zoom call where we were both communicating, on an interview style or Q&A. And through all the content, through all the live videos, the posts, the stories, people start to get drawn in if they're interested and they start to learn from you. They get value. You share something. It's like that jab, 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 right hook. You're giving value. You're giving value. You're giving value all for free. And then you make an ask. Hey, do you know anyone who needs real estate help? Hey, I'm looking to get a couple of referrals to close out the year strong. Who do you know who needs help in real estate? People are going to be more willing to help you whenever you've added value to them first, free of charge, ideally. And when they know that you are someone who's capable, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you've been doing this for years, you've stayed consistent, they're going to start to raise their hand and they're going to start to ask you questions and reply to your stories. And that's been my strategy, is just mostly content marketing, have a couple of calls to action in there, and post pictures of houses and stuff like that that are listed or even that I'm walking through, and people will reply, hey, where is this? How much does that house cost? Or like, what part of town is this in? And that means, why are they asking questions? Probably because they're going to start their search soon. And you can kind of dive in a little bit and withhold that information. You don't just give them the address right away. You just say, hey, just curious, why are you asking? Are you guys in the market for home this year? I'd be happy to show it to you. And maybe they don't have a real estate agent, or maybe they do. You got to obviously ask questions. And I'm talking about the real estate example, but this is how I'm asking questions and being inquisitive to find out, A, are they trying to buy a house? B, if they are, do they have a realtor yet? Most likely not, if they're just in the beginning stages. C, how soon are they trying to do this so that I can help them? And do they have any questions? Because, by the way, buying a house with a real estate agent is free to you because the seller pays. So I kind of weasel my way in, not weasel my way in. That sounds kind of like a slimy salesman, but I add value. I ask a few questions, qualifying questions to see where they are in the process. And then if it makes sense, whether they want to buy or sell a house, or they've got questions on even renting an apartment, I can ask questions, and I always drive them to book a call with me through Calendly. So if they want to buy, they get one link. If they want to sell, they get another link. And if they just kind of have some generic questions or want to rent a place, I might even just send them a link for a 15-minute Zoom call. So it's very non-committal. I'm not asking them to drive across town and meet me at my office and spend their entire afternoon there getting picked apart by my questions and seeing if I have any referrals that I can squeeze out of them. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to quickly assess their needs, add value, show them that I'm the person who can help, share my screen if we're doing a Zoom call, and just show off my skills. Like, hey, here's the MLS, here's what I can see, here's some sold data in this area. By the way, days on market, the average is this. And when I do that, it's hard to fake because I'm doing it in real time. I'm not showing a presentation that could have been crafted by some expert who's done this for 20 years. I'm showing them behind the scenes of what I have access to and the visibility, and that I actually know how to utilize the tools at my disposal. And so I've established credibility, and typically I'll also go through a presentation which helps enhance the credibility by testimonials and images of me at closing with clients, screenshots of 5-star reviews, and people can get a good feel for Chris is a good dude. He knows how to communicate. He knows how to ask questions. He seems really chill. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of just bragging a little bit here, but I do feel like I connect very well with people and I don't come across as pushy. This is just how I am. I'm very passive in a way where sometimes I might let a deal go because I'm not willing to pursue it. I like to attract. I don't like to chase. It's a completely different game. I feel like I'm a magnet. I attract my ideal clients. You either want to work with me or you don't. I share that I know what I'm talking about. Here's my experience. Here's all the 5-star reviews. Any questions? What's your timeline? Are you ready to look at houses? Are you ready to put your house up for sale? Let's talk about the process. And so through that, they understand I'm the right person. I know what I'm talking about. I've done this before. And look at all the great reviews that I have. Any questions? Typically, there's not really any questions because they don't know what they don't know yet. But I reiterate to them that I'm going to walk them through every step of the process, answer any questions as they come up. And when you put them at ease, they really want to know that when they do have a question, you'll be there. When they need you, you'll be able to take care of them. That's really what they want to know. Like, does this person seem like a reliable person? And when you're creating consistent content and you're constantly putting out podcast interviews and YouTube videos and doing live videos and sending out emails, and you've been doing that consistently for years, that's all the proof they typically need. You're not some kind of fly-by-night salesperson who doesn't have any social media presence or credibility. You've got a whole stack and slew of information. They can Google your name and find you on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on all these platforms, and everything ties together, and you've got your website and your email address on all those things. This all kind of builds that credibility wheel that helps strengthen the case for them to decide to work with you, especially when it comes to a high ticket item that's a pretty big decision. You know, buying or selling a house, for example, in most people's lives is one of the bigger financial decisions that they're going to make. And they want to make sure that they're not just putting their finances in the hands of someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So if I were to sum this into 3 or 4 points for making a high ticket sale, I would say first, establish the relationship and rapport. You want to let them know that you're easy to work with, you're communicative, and you're going to be there. Second, I would say kind of show off a little bit of your knowledge and skill set. They need to know that you're competent, that you know what the hell you're doing. This is not your first rodeo. Third, solidify with testimonials, I would say, show some testimonials. People love to see that, especially if they're screenshots from something like Google reviews that you didn't really Photoshop. You can't really fake those as easily. They can easily look there and see if they're real. And then fourth, I'd say maybe have like that soft call to action. Don't be super weird or strange about it, but just say, hey, are you guys ready to go ahead and get the paperwork started for buying this thing? Or it sounds like you're ready to get this thing sold pretty quickly. Whatever the situation is, have that little call to action saying, are you guys ready to take the next step? And if so, I'm going to outline exactly how it's going to go, who's going to email who I'm going to copy on the email for support, my transaction coordinator, for example, and everybody's happy. We get the ball rolling. And of course, when the deal closes, a high ticket deal, that's when you get paid. Client, if they're selling, get their proceeds. The buyer, if they're buying, they get their keys. Everybody's happy, right? So you got to make sure, have very strong communication along the way. Things aren't always going to be perfect or easy. If issues come up, jump ahead of them. Don't let people get blindsided by them and find out some other way. You want to be the one to deliver the news, good or bad. and of course, be the guide through the transaction so that you have a great experience, you give your clients a great experience, and they're more likely to refer business to you in the future. So those are some tips on high ticket sales and how I've kind of found my way into this high ticket sales world of real estate and larger commission checks and freedom and flexibility. If you have any questions at all, make sure to head over to the YouTube channel, drop them in the comment section below, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram. My handle is Chris Bello _. I look forward to connecting with you and creating more content around this. And if you have any topic suggestions, feel free to shoot them my way. I'm constantly looking for new stuff that people are interested in learning to teach. And so I look forward to catching you on the next episode. And thank you so much for your time.